Welcome to episode 24 of Miami Masterclass. I'm Ian, and in today's episode we are going to actually live comm the wildcard game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. If you have not seen an episode of Miami Masterclass before, this is the first time that we've made the playoffs. We pretty much dominated in the end to get in. We picked the top wildcard spot, but for a stage there we looked like we'd fallen away, and in the end, we came really strong in the end. We went, something like 25-10 in the last 2 months to eventually secure that top wildcard spot. We could have defeated the Atlanta Braves for the division, but they beat us in October. Let's go back to the schedule so you can see. That one game there, that's the one game that cost us. Adam Conway cost us big time because he only went a third of an inning and he got smacked all over the place. So that's disappointing. I probably could take the blame myself because of this man, Abraham Almonte, our centre fielder. We picked him up in a trade, as you remember. And he slumped a little bit, and I was getting frustrated, so I just dumped him down in AAA. But we didn't really have a centre fielder to take his spot. And then when he came back up, he did very, very well for us. He came up with the roster expansion in September and did very, very well. So if he'd have stayed in for the few months prior, perhaps things could have been slightly different, but there's no point in dwelling on it now. So we have got a home game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. I will quickly show you the playoff coverage. So we are 3-3 this season against the Pirates. It does look like Madison Bumgarner is getting the nod, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jose Fernandez actually makes the start, because although I think he pitched in the last game, but by the time we roll around, he should be ready to pitch. We have got a slightly better record by 3 games. We've got a fantastic home record, 52-29, but they've got a pretty decent away record, whereas ours, as you can see, is appalling. They also lead the National League in runs scored. Runs against and runs against for the Pirates, we're pretty similar in that regard. They've got slightly more runs scored than us. We're only 3rd in the National League, but runs against is very, very even, so I'm expecting this to be a pretty tight series. Well, I say series because it's obviously only one game. So because of the playoff roster rules, I will quickly show you, we will not have Tazawa due to the playoff rules being that if he's not on the team by the roster expansion date, then he misses out. So we're not going to have Tazawa. Truth be told, I'm not too disappointed about that, because since he's come back, he hasn't been that great. So losing him isn't a major blow. Otherwise, it's the standard team that you guys have been following throughout the year. But we will get into the game against Pittsburgh after I show you their team, because they have a pretty good team once it finishes loading. Andrew McCutchen, he's still there. Gregory Polanco in right field, he actually won the MVP award last year with very, very good numbers, as you can see, thoroughly deserved. He cooled off ever so slightly, but he's still putting up great, great numbers, and he's only 26. He was actually one of the players that I was looking at trading for to get rid of Stanton, but I made the correct decision there. Polanco is very, very good, but I'm not too upset about not getting him. Pablo Sandoval has been still putting up decent numbers at third base. Jordy Mercer at shortstop, he's probably their weakest link. And as you can see, they've actually only got 3 guys there in the rotation. They've already got their playoff roster, Worley, Cole and Talon. So it does look like Vance Worley is going to get the nod in this game, but I will show you that later. He's doing all right. Jarrett Cole, he's going 4.55. I mean, if they give him the nod, we stand a real chance. And this guy, Jameson Talon, I looked at trades for him during the off-season last year. He's very good. He made the step up last year to the majors. Actually, I tell a lie. Actually, he came up in 2015, made a few starts. So he obviously came up in the roster expansion and got batted all over the joint. But last year he actually made a spot in the rotation his own, and he put up very good numbers. So I was really looking at trying to trade for him just to get a fantastic rotation going. But they wanted silly people. They wanted Schwarber and the like, so I wasn't going to give them up. And this year he's actually found the going a little tough. So if we end up facing him, that'll be a promising thing as well. So let's get into the game then. So they've got Andrew McCutcheon leading off in centre field. Then they've got Dan Gamache in second base. Polanco, of course, in right field. Josh Bell at first base. Jeff Decker, left field. Pablo Sandoval, third base. Geordie Mercer, shortstop. Reese McGuire, who's actually probably their weakest link as catcher. And Vance Worley is getting the nod as a pitcher. Across, looking at, because we've got Jose Fernandez on the mound, no one's really putting up great numbers against him, are they? I mean, Geordie Mercer's 3 for 8, but they've only got one home run off of him, and that was Gregory Polanco, and he's only got 1 for 10. So that's quite promising. Now, if we look at our lineup, we have Ketel Marte at shortstop, Joe Panic second base, Schwarber in left field, Mazzara in right field, CJ Cron's fallen back into fifth in the order at first base. Raul Muto actually gets the nod at catcher. You remember in the last episode, he was day-to-day with a minor injury, but he's back and fit now, so he's getting the start. Jordani Valdespin at centre field, which that's a bit concerning actually, because I would have preferred Almonte there. But I'm trusting Gary Jones over myself. I will actually quickly change that back to substitutions for him. Martin Prado at third base, and of course Jose Fernandez on the mound. When you look at our statistics against Worley, that looks quite promising, doesn't it? I mean, Kyle Schwarber's 7 for 13 with a home run. CJ Cron's 5 for 11. Ketel Marte has only faced him 4 times, but gone 2 for 4. And Martin Prado's actually been putting up okay numbers as well. So this is a very, very tough game to pick. I mean, as we all know from the wild card in real life, it's basically a coin toss as to who wins this game. Hopefully it's us, because I really want to try and go deep. I'm not expecting to win the World Series or anything silly like that, but I'd like to go as deep as possible. And we've got the first out there. Andrew McCutcheon's gone. That's not a great start though, is it? Got a man on. We don't want Polanco coming up, and he's just hit a double. And there you go. So they're up 1-0. Camacho comes in. That's frustrating. So we're down a run already. And this is going to be a very, very quick inning for us, it is. It'll be interesting, as we just reached on an error there, as Ketel Marte. So that's three strikeouts there for Fernandez, which is good. Like I said, though, I'd like to get as deep into the playoffs as possible. I mean, this one-game wildcard game is ridiculous, isn't it? It is just a coin toss. It depends, how your pitcher performs on the day as to whether you progress or not. But Valdespin starts off with a double. Prado, there you go. Martin Prado with the single. Valdespin brings it home. We are tied. And can Joe Panic do anything? Gets a single. Marte moves over to second. Schwarber's walked, so we've got bases loaded, but Mazzara flies out to Gregory Polanco. This is so tight, isn't it? It's 1-1. Sandoval grounds into a double play. That ends the inning. Oh, this is stressful. So stressful. So we got men on the corners. Fernandez has been hit by a pitch, and Marte grounds out. So we've left bases loaded 2 innings in a row. Mercer's gone off with a double. They could well score here, but they don't. We get out of the jam. Fernandez is pitching very, very well. Worley's walked 2 and only striked out 1. Or struck out, not striked out. What am I talking about? I mean, how good is Fernandez going? That's his 7th strikeout. Fernandez is, of course, a real strikeout pitcher. But we're doing really well. We have to. We're not going to do it with a double play, are we? Prado turned from hero to villain. We really should be winning this game. With Pablo Sandoval on third, he's just scored, and another one comes home, and they're up 3-1. But that's a huge blow for us now. I will change to pitch by pitch in the 9th, depending on how we go. But it looks like this is going to be a very quick episode. That's frustrating. But that's the sport, isn't it? Come on, boys. Mazzara with a double. Cron gets a single. Men on the corners. Raul Muto's just popped up. without a spin. We're at the worst order. That's really, really frustrating. So Bobby Parnell comes in and he's just given up a single. So we could be going home very, very quickly. And it's now 4-1. And this is just getting depressing, isn't it? So Prado's actually just gone a lead-off single. What I will do is I will change to pitch by pitch just to slow things down a little bit, because this is important. So Tim Federowicz has come in on the 1-1 count, 2-2, and he struck out. So we've got down to our final 2 outs here. Marte, and that's it, really, isn't it? We're down to our final out. Unless Joe Panic gets a home run or something, this is us out. So disappointing. So disappointing, and that's it. That's the ball game. We're out. We are out, and we played. We should have dominated that game. We left 10 guys on base. Pittsburgh left 5, and it's all over. I mean, Fernandez did very well with 9 strikeouts. Wally did very well too, in saying that he did give up 3 walks and 3 strikeouts, but he went 8 innings too. Oh, that's frustrating. Really frustrating. Because we kept, like McCutcheon, we kept him very, very quiet. Polanco only got 1 hit. We kept them all very, very quiet, really. And unfortunately, it matters not, because we're out of the playoffs. Just like that. So what I'll do then is I'll do a quick recap then for the season. And then tomorrow's episode will obviously be the off-season. So in the end, Joe Panic actually led the batting leaders. We went 306. Mazzara just edged out CJ Cron with Kyle Schwarber not too far behind them. Mazzara led runs batted in, but Ketel Marte got 20 stolen bases. And Mazzara led Joe Panic in the WAR. In terms of our guys on the mound, Jose Fernandez became our best pitcher. Madison Bumgarner seemed to cool off as the year progressed, but he did very well too. Bumgarner actually led wins. Perhaps we should have played Bumgarner ahead of Fernandez, really. If I was in charge, that's how I would have done the wildcard game, not that it matters. Fernandez, 244 strikeouts, that's very, very good numbers. Did throw 222 and 2/3 innings and led WAR. So we'll have a quick look at our pitching. So this is for, just make sure we do the season, because we don't want the entire careers. So in all, Adam Conley, 396. Not too concerned about that one. Grant Dayton, 304. Tyler Higgins, he was a little disappointing, 450 ERA. Ivan Nova, just over 4. Everyone's pretty average, really, aren't they? Jake Thompson's been a major disappointment, 435. Tanner Shepard's had a bad year too. But if we go to the batters, anyone really standing out then? So Raul Muto, 285. Federowicz, 233. CJ Cron went 281. Is that an improvement over the previous year? Yeah, that's a huge improvement over last year. His ops has improved dramatically as well. Joe Panic, he's our best player by far, isn't he? He went 306. I mean, he might be in with a bit of a shout to get MVP award. You never know. Valderspin got the nod at centre field. I personally would have played... Actually, no, in saying that, I don't think they could play Almonte, could they? Because he wouldn't have made the playoff roster. So that's probably why he didn't play. Valderspin, 249. Iglesias, 272. Martin Prado did very well and certainly earned that extra year contract. Ketel Marte, 266. Nori Aoki, 278. I don't know if I'll be bringing Nori Aoki back. Kyle Schwarber, he's very hit and miss. Last year he went 254, this year he went 259, so he's consistent if nothing else. But for his batting ratings, I expect him to be putting up bigger numbers than that. Especially, I mean, his home run power's up there. He did only get 23 home runs. I expect more from him. So that's a bit of a worry. He's probably our worst performer in terms of ability. But this guy was surely the standout. He went 283 for the year since he made right field his own. Nomar Mazzara. I will actually have a quick look at how Giancarlo Stanton did. So just remember the numbers, 283 with slugging of 521. And let's see how Stanton did in Texas, which he's not even on there. Oh, he's injured. Well, there you go. That explains that. He went 289 and his slugging was a lot lower. 281, I should say, and his slugging is a lot lower. So Mazzara actually did a lot better than us, but by the looks of it, we've been very lucky, didn't we? Because who did we get rid of recently? And it was Matt Latos, wasn't it? He got injured for a very, very long time at Boston and only played a handful of games. And Stanton did the exact same thing. Played 10 games and basically missed the entire season. So that's a real blow for them. So we've really just shafted them massively. So in terms of how we're going to improve our team, we've obviously got quite a bit of money to spend now. We've got a few players that are leaving. Henderson Alvarez, he's out for a very, very long time. He's still out for another 10 months. He's not going to be coming back, and that's a real blow because he is a good player, but I'm certainly not going to be offering him a contract with that sort of injury. Ben Revere is another one that I will be letting go. I like him personally, but as you can see, last year his on-base percentage was quite down, which for a leadoff man, you do want a bit more than that. I do love having a speedy guy in leadoff, but you can't have someone batting with an on-base percentage rather of 307 and expect him to keep his spot in the leadoff role. And of course, he missed the vast majority of the season as well. And he didn't have a great start to the year either. So Ben Revere's going. So we definitely need a man in the rotation because we're losing Alvarez. We definitely need a centre fielder because we're losing Ben Revere. And then it becomes a bit tricky in terms of our relievers because most of them are only on one-year contracts. Bobby Parnell, for instance, I wasn't too disappointed with him. He did go 279, and of course he did. I'm blaming him for the loss against Pittsburgh in the wildcard game. But he put up pretty decent numbers. But he's getting on a bit in age, and his development has decreased ever so slightly. So like his control has dropped, for instance. So this will probably be his only year with us. We've then also got players like Eric O'Flaherty, who he had a very poor year, didn't he? I brought him in thinking he was going to do amazing things, and he did nothing. So he's gone too. Nori Aoki, another one whose contract runs out. I don't know if I'll bring him back. As you can see, his contact is starting to head south, and I want someone with a bit more contact ability. Plus, let's not forget he's nearly 36 as well. So I certainly honour his achievements for us, because in those 2 years he put up very, very good numbers, but I don't know if I'll keep him around. Although, in saying that, his discipline and his avoiding Ks are still very high, so that's quite promising. But I don't think I'll keep him. Other than that, the vast majority of our team is actually on auto-renew. I mean, we've got a lot of young players, of course, most of which is like Marte, Mazzara, for instance, Joe Panic. He's got arbitration, $3.8 million. I might, offer him a contract, see if he'll take something a bit lower. In fact, let's do that now. Let's see if he'll take something a bit lower. So he wants 4.6, and he wants it for a year. So 3.8 is what they seem to think he's going to get in arbitration. So I'll offer 3.9, and he seems quite happy with that. So we should be able to snap him up for a year. But as you can see, we got $30 million for extensions. I don't know if there's really anyone else that I want to offer big money to. CJ Cron, wants 3.8. Let's see what CJ Cron wants, because I certainly want to keep him around. He wants 4.4. Let's do 3.9 as well. Let's see if he takes that, because that'd be very good if we could tie him. And he's quite happy with 3.9 as well. So if we can keep them to our terms, then that's very good. So otherwise, just to recap then, so we definitely need another man in the rotation, definitely need a centre fielder, and we need to get a few more relievers in. But if we do look in our AAA setup, is there anyone that's worthy of a call-up? Doesn't really look like it, does it? We don't have a lot of players. You've got players like Brian Ellington there, who's got great control, great stuff, great movement, but his control is very low. And then you got like David Phelps, who's got good control, but then his stuff and his movement are low. So there's no one really ready for the call-up, I don't think. CJ Robinson, possibly. and he's only young. He's only 24, so I don't think he's quite ready for the call-up yet. He might make the roster expansion next year. Now, Arturo Rodriguez is someone that keeps cropping up. He doesn't look particularly good, but he might be a decent replacement for Federowicz. Let's see. When does Federowicz... See, he's got arbitration as well. He wants 3.2. I don't know if I'm going to renew him because, look, his contacts dropped. Let's do a comparison between him and Rodriguez. So, Federowicz has got better home run power, better eye, a much better eye, but Rodriguez doesn't strike out as much. Rodriguez is better against the lefties. Yeah, I think Rodriguez isn't actually going to be that much better, is he? So that's a bit disappointing. I probably won't offer Federowicz, so we might need another backup catcher. It all depends on... I'll have a look with at the free agents, at the upcoming free agents when we get through the playoffs. But we do still have an awful lot of money to spend. There you go, total money free agents. We've got just over $21 million, which is a lot of money. If we could spread that over, get a good man in the rotation, and then we can get a good centre fielder, and then we can sort of, possibly pick up some scraps with a catcher or two, and some other sort of backup players in that regard. And we're looking very, very promising for the following year. As we have a quick look at the minor league system, just to round it out, we've got some decent players coming through. Let's sort by overall rating. Foscolina at second base. He's only in single A, but he seems to be coming on leaps and bounds, which is very promising at second base. McPherson, he always keeps getting mentioned. He's in double A. He looks like a decent catcher. In fact, he could be possibly ready for the call up into maybe the big time, triple A, that sort of thing. His home run power's a little low, seems to strike out an awful lot. Has, just about average discipline, contact could do with a little bit of work, but he's got a good catcher ability there, as you can see. So in double A this year, did only go 220, but I mean, he'll almost certainly go up to triple A next year, surely, and he might be one to keep an eye on. But other than that, we've got a lot of players with great potential rating, but none really in AAA. We've got Zach Sullivan. He's our only AAA in that list, isn't he? We don't have many. So Zach Sullivan, how did he get on? Because I don't think... Yeah, see, he played most of his games then in AA. He obviously replaced some of the expanded roster call-ups in AAA for the end of the year. But he went 249 in AA. Still has a little bit of room with contact, home run power, could do with a little bit of work, and discipline especially has lots of room to improve. But I quite like him, and I think, again, roster expansion time, he's going to be one to possibly call up. And who knows? I mean, if he comes on leaps and bounds next year in AAA, he could be one for the future. So perhaps when I'm looking for a centre fielder for next year, I'll just tie someone down to a one-year deal, because Zach Sullivan could come up and start knocking him out of the park. I mean, he's in AAA now. He'll probably fall back down to AA. I wouldn't be too surprised about that. When you look at his age, he's not very old, is he? So he's doing very well for his age. So he's certainly one for the future. But that brings a rather sour end to season 2017. As you can see, we made the playoffs. That's an improvement over how we've done in previous years, isn't it? If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you pop a like on there for me. But it's really hard to like it, isn't it, when you fall to a one-game stupid wildcard game like this, where we leave 10 people on base, two lots of bases loaded situations as well. Yeah, that's sour, isn't it? Really disappointing. But I'll be back again tomorrow, because 2018 is another season, and that's the season we're going to win the division. Thanks for watching.